Hey,
It turned into like a 3 second countdown.
right? Because yeah, I think you put like live like right at the end.
Yeah,
Anyway, we wanted to talk about idolatry, right? So,
yeah.
well, I was gonna do it in my channel, right? But I guess like we are gonna do it in your channel. I put my channel, so hopefully something happened. So yeah, or what did you want to start?
Well, it's your thing, so you lead.
I mean, it's your channel, so like go ahead.
I mean, what are we're talking about? Like what the Bible says about idols, or
Well, there's a lot of idols. There's like the big, like the back, like the ancient idols, like Baal, whatever, and like the golden calf. There's also like the modern idols and whatever. So we want to start off there. I feel like I should put
uh,
this like here because I can't like I keep saying like laptop. Yeah,
um,
yeah.
I
I was gonna well in the live stream I was gonna talk about like an article that I have about 15 verses about idolatry and I think it was I'm not sure but 1 second. Um scroll up. It was about well it doesn't really exactly say. But it says where is it? Oh, it says 15 Bible verses about idolatry and the dangers of idols. So do you mind if I share the screen with you?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to sorry. All right. So I wanted to show you here. I was gonna show this on my channel, but we did it in yours. But it's okay. So yeah, Bible verses about idolatry. So I wanted to go show you guys about, well, you about this. Um and so yeah, there's like the Buddhist idol, like there's like so many idols with Hinduism and Buddhism, whatever. There's like those are like the kind of like ancient idols and like those like they're carved images, and so that's what is going on in Catholic Church. I wanted to like just reference that. Like it's not just like Buddhism or Hinduism, but there's also Catholicism, Catholic idols, or I would say with Mary and like saints and statues, like the carved images, like the graven images, of course. And I wanted to just go on and look at the verses that says. So I wanted to just go to First Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 7, which says, "Do not be as idolaters, as some of them were, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and got up to indulge in revelry." Um, and then also, of course, another one in First Corinthians. Um, First Corinthians chapter 10, verse 14. Therefore, my dear friends, flee from idolatry. First John 5:21. Dear children, keep yourselves from idols, and on and on and on. And then of course there's like the lusts of the flesh and sexual I can't even say it. Sexual immorality, impurity, whatever. So Colossians chapter 3, verse 5. Put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature, sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. So on and on and on. You can go and see that article. I just wanted to reference that there. So that's why I wanted to talk about um in the live. So yeah, what do you think about that though?
I mean, when you were reading it, I mean, it said like, uh, I can't remember the other stuff, but it said like sexual immorality, this, that, that's idolatry. So I feel because sometimes I wonder. Hold on, your screen went all right.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
I feel like idolatry is like it's like putting anything before God, right? So it could be
Hmm.
like it could literally be anything, right?
something that you're worshiping, that you're putting before God, that you're like, for example, it can be anything like fame, popularity, money, right? Like all those blessings that God can bestow on us, but people like worship or make the blessings, right? An idol, and then not God is himself. Like that's what kind of what I wanted to go over is like people go over like the blessings like in their lives, and they kind of make that an idol, idol worship and whatever, and it's kind of like that, and also social media and not spending time with enough time with God, and kind of like spending time with other, like spending wasting your time on other things instead of like seeking the Lord, right? So like it's kind of like what I wanted to talk about also, um, because there's like obviously there's a biblical, the ancient idols, but there's also like the untangible idols where like there's like either money or social media or whatever it is. It's like the tangible and non-tangible. So like it's not just like the tangible where like you either worship an image, like I don't know, remember like the Virgin Mary, whatever. It's also like social media, sex, so many things, so many other things, right? So that, yeah.
So how would you? I've like wondered about that myself. Like, how do you know? Because it's obvious. Like, if you have like, if I'm holding a graven image, like a metal or a stone thing, and I'm like praying to it and worshiping it, like that's obvious. So how do you tell if you're making something else an idol? Like, how would you say you tell?
I'm gonna say if you're spending most of your time with that item or that thing that you're kind of like spending your time with, like for example, movies. If like people spend a lot of their time watching movies, or like I'm not gonna like bash anyone or like target anyone, but just in general, people who like watch movies or play video games and they spend most of their time playing that, watching that, like that's their idol, like really their idol. So, for example, if you're like reading this, which is the Bible, obviously, if you're spending time with the Lord and you're reading this, you're worshiping the Lord, obviously, in spirit and in truth. So you're worshiping the Lord, which is He's meant to worship. But if you're worshiping like something else that's not supposed to be worship, that it's meant only for entertainment or enjoyment, that's it. And you're making it as an idol. That's an idol. So yeah, yeah.
So how would you?
And sorry, and sorry, to interrupt you. Also, with you saying that, it reminds me of like the crystals where people like kind of like they kind of like feel the crystal. Oh, this is my GoPro, sorry, but this is like for example, this is like a crystal. They like feel the crystal, like they kind of like they kind of like think that there was like energy in the crystal, and it gives you like good vibes. Right? I guess I don't know, but just like pretend that this is like crystal and it gives you good vibes, and like it kind of like helps you in your life or whatever, or like a necklace or like something like it's like a crystal, and it's like a like that type of stuff. Where it's new agey, so like that. That's really idolatry. It's kind of like witchcraft, where you're like trying to kind of like get good vibes from this object when it's not really doing that, right? It's just an idol. So yeah, just the example. Sorry. Okay.
Uh, I would see the. All right. So how? I had two questions. Like, how would you tell if, like, if you're doing something like in ministry, but like your ministry becomes an idol or something, and then also what's more like in Christianity, what do we see as idols? And then someone who's like not in Christianity, like I guess you said like if you're watching movies all the time. I don't know. I don't know. How do you I like black and white, like obvious, like this is an idol and you're doing it.
um, you were talking about what object? Sorry, what type of thing you were talking about for worshiping or spending time with?
I said movies, but or ministry or
Oh, ministry. Right, right, right. I did have that problem with ministry where like a lot of people honestly have that problem. Um, and I'm not gonna like go after them or whatever, but Christian truthers spend so much time focused on the evil when they're like supposed to be focusing on the gospel and then focus. And I'm not gonna like go on under the umbrella of that, but I'm not. I'm just gonna go over it. I don't know, but kind of like that, where like Christian truthers are kind of focusing on the devil and evil all the time. And it's constant and it's like all the time. Like they're always doing that. That's an idol. Like you're literally like kind of worshiping your ministry. You're kind of making that ministry an idol. Like you're kind of doing that. Um, and you're spending all the time making videos about like the evil and Satan, whatever. Like that's bad. And so if you're spending most of the time doing that instead of like spending most of your time with the Lord, that's obviously that's an idol. Yeah. So that's why we gotta be careful when it becomes an idol, and it became an idol for me for some time for like I think it was like 2 years ago. It was like a while, but it became an idol for me, and I didn't know it, but I discovered it because God revealed it to me. But yeah,
So I mean, I guess it's like, um, I mean, I think of the verse "pray without ceasing" or whatever. Is it kind of like just like be asking God, should I be doing this or what should I be doing,
yeah.
like throughout your day or whatever?
hmm I mean, the thing is, the problem is that anything can become an idol. Like it can become lust. It can become like anything, like money, whatever it is. Like become like that's the problem. Like, anything can literally become an idol. So yeah,
So, what are the 3 steps to identify identify an idol?
identifying is. I think it's just solely like spending most of your time with that thing or that. Um, for example, if you're spending time with, for example, if you're in, I'm not gonna like go into deep into this, but if you're like in a relationship and it's like codependent and then you're like kind of like focusing on that person, spending most of the time with that person instead of the Lord, that's really idolatry. So like it's putting someone in the pedestal when you're not supposed to be putting that person in the pedestal, but you're supposed to be putting Jesus in the pedestal. So yeah,
So, I mean, so it goes back to kind of like keeping your connection with God and like asking Him. I mean, would you agree with that? Like the pray without ceasing. Like my biggest
yeah,
prayer to God is like what should I be doing? Is this good? Is this bad? Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely 100%. Yeah, I feel like I should put the camera here because like the computer is like brain for that. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
um, so I don't know. Do you think that's written more for like less, like don't have idols? Is that written for like less obvious stuff, like watching TV, or is that more obvious, like murder, lying, stealing, you know,
Well, I mean, they're all sins, but they're how they're yeah. I can't. I don't know what the word is for it, but like it has their
different degrees or whatever?
intensity. Yeah, like their intensity of what's sin. Like what's more like I don't know. What's more um sinful? Like what's more like harmful? I guess I don't know. Like it's more like what's more of it. You can't like the what's more of an intense sin and the what is like less of a sin. For example, if a kid's like is stealing candy from like a grocery store, or like a convenience store or whatever, like that's yeah, it's a sin. But like whatever like the person did with the child, like for example, pedophilia, yeah, can you say it? Pedophilia, like that's like even worse sin, right? So right, yeah, I mean yeah,
Okay, all right, yeah. So I mean, I think like um, if we're not like reading the Bible and praying, it's going to be harder to spot that, right? like idols?
I mean, personally for me, like at the beginning I never even noticed it until God like kind of revealed to me. Um, because we all have blind spots. We all have blind spots until God kind of like if we continue to pray, if we continue like to ask God what I need to change about myself, what it is I need to change um about like what I'm doing, what I'm like kind of like spending my time on. Um yeah, obviously like you said like praying without ceasing, yeah, definitely.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know where to go from there.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of ways we can go from here because like there's just so much um things that can become an idol. Like even just um even just like doing something that you love doing, but you spend more of your time on, and you kind of like it. You do like it, but you don't know it's becoming more like an idol than God. It's definitely a problem. It's dangerous. So yeah. Yeah. So is there any questions that you wanted to ask about?
um, I don't even know. I don't know. Like whenever I never know. Like that's one of the things. Like when I read the Bible that I'm like unsure about is like idols. I'm like I don't know, but I'm gonna keep trying to follow Jesus. You know what I mean? I don't
Right,
know.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, like, because I think it's in James where in the book of, or not James, Jude maybe, the book
hmm
ends with like, keep yourselves from idols, dear children, or whatever. And
I
I'm
think
like,
that was First Corinthians. Yeah. Or yeah, I think it was for sure. It was Colossians or Corinthians. I'm not even sure. I think let me see. One second. One second. Let me check. I think it was oh yeah, First John chapter 5 verse 21. Dear children, keep yourselves from idols. So yeah, definitely a good one. Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, anything like alcohol can become an idol. Like anything can become an idol. Like it's just like you name it, it can become an idol. Drugs, alcohol, pornography, anything can become an idol like, nowadays. Back then it was just like a carved image. You make it, and then that's your idol. That's really it. And so if you could see in Exodus, is it Exodus? I'm not even sure. I think it is Exodus or Genesis. No, it's Exodus. You see that Moses goes up to Mount Sinai to meet with the Lord, and he gets like the Ten Commandments, like the two tablets of the Ten Commandments. And then he comes back and he sees that he finds the whole, well, not all of them, but most of Israel worshiping a carved image, which is the golden calf, right? Um, so anything, literally anything. Again, I gotta emphasize that because it's true. I emphasize that that's true. Anything can become an idol, even your phone, even your social media accounts, whatever. Yeah,
so I guess like we should pray like that God show us if we have idols or.
yeah. I mean, we can even find ourselves what we're spending too much time on, and we're like, whoa, yeah, I need to stop. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, what would you say like how should time be spent? Because obviously there's like if you're taking care of your kids or you're making dinner, doing dishes, reading a book, like how do you tell, like, you know what I mean, like if there's a lot of dishes to do or you're reading a lot in a book, or you know what I mean, like.
Like I said, there comes a time where like yes, you're taking too much. Like for example. Video games. I'm gonna go with video games because I think that's the most common addiction. Is the most common thing that you could become an idol. And not just video games, but also like YouTube and whatever. Um, but a child, let's say a teenager who's like 15, 14, I don't know, 60, whatever. A teenager who's spending like, let's say like 16 hours like playing Fortnite or like PS4, PS5, whatever it is. A child who or teenager who's spending that much time, it's making that video game an idol. That's what's going on. Like if it's spending like most of the day, like let's say 17 or 16 hours, like spending that time only playing video games, that's an idol. I was just gonna say, but that's an idol. That's an idol. It can become an addiction, but also an idol. So yeah, it's the same with like pornography, with social media, with I don't know anything. Even like doing videos, like it can become an idol. So yeah,
So
popularity even. So yeah.
so what would be like let's say you're playing video games 16 hours a day, like what would God tell you? What would God want us to do? Like if I'm playing video games 16 hours a day, like what should I be doing? You know what I mean?
Well, if you're a Christian, you're supposed to be kind of for the first thing you're supposed to be doing is repenting, obviously. The second thing is praying and ask God for forgiveness, of course. And then the third thing is to uh restore that relationship with God, of course, because the most time you've been spending on that on the most you say it. Sorry, the most time you've been spending on your day is video games or whatever it is. So you're supposed to be restoring that relationship with God and spending more and more time with God instead of the video games. Instead of like I know it can become an addiction and become very hard, even with social media nowadays. But spending more time with God instead of whatever you're doing. Um, and so yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, there's so many verses in the Bible, but the one I can refer to is that one, which is golden calf in Exodus. Um, and God even drew the people who kept rebelling and committing idolatry and sinning against God. God drew them out of out of there and then took them to hell. Sorry, not jail, not jail. Sorry, took them to hell. Um, so I mean, if you see that God opened the earth, right? Opened the like the I don't know what you call it, like the ground, I guess, like and then took them to hell. Um, like the Korah, like Korah, right? Remember? I think it's Korah, like the rebellion of Korah. I think the name. I'm not even sure, but what verse is that?
well,
But it's kind of near to where the Ten Commandments are like written in here. Do you remember?
I mean, I remember the earth opening up and swallowed I think it was when God said don't take any of the spoil of the war. And I think it was
Oh yeah,
and Achan, he kept some silver and gold for himself and he hid it under his tent. And because of that, like the children of Israel like lost the battle. And so they
yeah,
prayed like God, why did this happen? And God separated and separated and separated, and finally it came that it was him. So
yeah. I
I
forgot about that. Yeah. That they're rebelling against God because everything that God said not to do, they did. And everything God said to do, they didn't. I guess they didn't do it. I don't know. They did the opposite of what God said to do. Yeah. So the rebellion is definitely something that is part of the idolatry. Um, so yeah. I forgot what verse is that though. Like what chapter is that? Um,
I don't know.
a second. Yeah, I forgot. Let me actually look it up because I forgot. Here, 1 second. Okay, so it says. Oh wait, it says Numbers. It's not Exodus. Sorry, my bad. What was the sin of Korah? So yeah, it was Numbers, not Exodus. My bad. Um, so it was number 16, I believe. 16. So, 1 second. Yeah, figure. Okay, so it says now Korah. My bad. Not Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath. I'm just gonna skip that. I'm not. I don't think it's interesting. I don't think it's like relevant. Okay, so it says on the sons of Peleth and the sons of Reuben took men, and he rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. They gathered before themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, "Ye take much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, everyone of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore, sorry, as King James, sorry about that. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves upon above the congregation of the Lord." So, kind of want to go up where it says about Korah. Okay, so it's rebellion Korah. There you go. Okay, so they fell upon their faces and said, "O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation?" And the Lord spake upon Moses, saying, "Speak unto the congregation, saying, Get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Danith, and Abiram, sorry." And Moses rose up and went unto Danith and Abiram, sorry. Keep saying I'm messing up on that. The elders of Israel followed him, and he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all your sins. So I think they're in this one. They're like warning Korah about what happened to him and the group. But yeah, I gotta reread the chapter because I forgot what it actually says. But yeah, that's it. um, yeah. So I'm gonna I think we should we wrap it up for that? Should we wrap it up the live stream?
Sure.
I don't know. You can say whatever you have to say. I'm done. Uh,
All right. Yeah, I mean, like, I, I think I'm gonna pray myself about certain things and see like if I have any idols. And I mean, the Bible it even says like, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Make sure you're saved. Like, make sure you're on track with God. So I think it's good to like periodically check. So
true.
should we?
I think that's a true statement. We have to always be checking if we're doing something that is not in accordance to God's will, accordance to like what God wants for us. So yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
very true. All right. So we wanna wrap it up.
Should we? This is
Yeah.
Joel Barrios, the wake up call. I'll put the link in the description. And thanks for doing this. And should we close in prayer, or should we uh, just head out?
Sure. Sure. You can do it.
All right. All right. I guess I'll pray. God, thank you that you love us. Thank you that you died for us in our place. If we give our lives to you, then we'll be saved because we've given our lives to you and you paid the price on the cross so that we'd be reconciled to you, and help us to walk that out and to check and see if we have any idols, or what you want us to get rid of, or what you want us to like add to our lives, more praying or more reading the Bible or just seeking after you. Show us our idols or show us our sins, whatever it is that we're doing wrong, and help us to be saved if we're not, and help us to just keep following you and making sure we're right with you and serving you. We love you, Jesus. In Jesus' name,
Amen. All right. Thanks for having me here. And so anytime you guys want to come, if you guys are working, you can come over to the wake up call. And so yeah. All right. Thanks.
man. All right, Joel Barrios, the wake up call. I'll put the link in the description. And later,
See you.
Joel, and later. All right.
Bye.